Welcome everyone today to our podcast. We are joined by Vidushi Sriranjani Santhanagopalan today. Hi Akka, how are you doing?
Namaste. All well, thank you so much. It's equally a pleasure to be here in the podcast with you. I'm generally a huge fan of podcasts, so and this is my first time on a podcast, so it's great to be here.
Seriously? Oh, we're so happy to be your first podcast. So just to kick things off, why don't you tell us how things have been going your side?
We've been staying home and staying safe as per the government regulations, trying to be responsible citizens, trying our best not to move around so that the virus is under control. So it's all good here. How about in London?
It's really weird, actually, if you look at pictures of like London, central London. Normally it's like so busy and it's completely empty, but all the wildlife seems to have kind of come back. I'm seeing like deers around and stuff. So
I hope there is no tiger outbreak in India. I'm scared. That's something, I've dreamt of that.
Really?
Yeah. I've dreamt that there is an outbreak of wild animals, especially tigers, because I've read the short story somewhere when I was young that there was a tiger on the loose in a city and what would potentially happen, etc. One of my worst fears.
Just wake up and just look out your window, see a leopard sitting on the tree outside.
Exactly. God. Us musicians are quite enjoying this time because it's a breather for us to learn new kritis. It's like a sabbatical. Like we can sit for hours together without any interruptions, no calls, uninterrupted time to learn kritis and other stuff. So it's been great, actually.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's a really nice slant looking at it that way. And speaking of sort of time to learn as well, you've obviously been at home with your family as well. Have you been sort of having more classes at home and also maybe linking up with other musicians and practicing on digital platforms?
Definitely. Actually, one of the best things about this lockdown is that I'm able to spend time with my family, especially my father. Usually, we never even meet each other normal days because we both are busy traveling, and his room is upstairs. So generally, we hardly meet each other. Mine is downstairs, and so it's a great time for us to sit together and talk about a lot of things and sing together. And my brother plays the mridangam, so we practice quite often.
You could have your mini kacheri at home.
Oh yeah, the only thing missing is a violinist for sure.
Musical family, and you come from a family where sort of music is very rich. And you mentioned your father, Guru Neveli Santhanagopalan, who has his room upstairs. So just a thought just occurred to me. So you must obviously practice. There must be times during the day when you're both singing at the same time. How well soundproofed is the house? And do you ever get to sort of hear each other from upstairs, downstairs singing?
We have one soundproof room upstairs. If we are planning to be really loud with our practice, we usually go there. But singing, actually we don't hear each other much because we live in a like 2-storied house. So he generally practices upstairs and me downstairs. But we have a soundproof room, yes, for my brother, because mridangam practice tends to be very loud. So
on this sort of topic with family and music as well, what was it like for you having sort of a father who is a guru, having so much of music going on at home? Would you say that was the major reason that funneled you towards music?
Well, it has its upsides and downsides as with anything else. I was extremely fortunate to have a musician, such a great musician for a father and a guru. But the line was never hazy. He was always a very respectable figure in our house. He was always the guru figure for both me and my brother. We talk on lighter subjects, but not much actually. It's always about music. He's always the guru figure. So the line was never hazy, and it kept me quite grounded in terms of my practice, etc. To have a disciplinarian at home, always watching you. That way I think I owe my discipline to my father, in that I always saw him practice like all the time growing up. So it was something that came to me naturally, that that 4 hours of practice minimum daily is a second nature to me. Because of him, I owe it to him. I got to accompany him in a lot of concerts. I played the tanpura for him in a lot of concerts. He just used to say, "Come on, nee kacheri irukku, vaa polam." There was no planning or anything. I just used to come back from school. I used to be playing, and he used to be like, "Okay, I have a concert. Come along, run along." And I used to just change immediately and accompany him on the tanpura for the concerts. So that was a great experience, and nothing can replace that experience. Even the face-to-face classes, I wouldn't say are as valuable as watching him perform. That's where I learned the craft of performing, by sitting behind him and watching his chemistry, watching his interactions with his co-musicians. That's actually how I learned how to perform.
Were you then, when you started performing, less kind of did you have less stage fright and stuff? Were you more kind of comfortable on stage because you'd had that exposure and you'd just been...
Absolutely. The craft of performing, that includes everything: overcoming stage fear, that the little punches, the little interactions, and all those crafts that I learned subconsciously through sitting behind him and observing him perform.
And you started performing at such a young age. How did you balance your academics and together?
I was very academic oriented. That's the word we use in India. Rumba academically oriented. That's what they say. So it wasn't very difficult for me to balance both. Neither of my parents never pressured me to study at all, but I did it in my own interest. And as I was studying, the music was always falling in my ears, because my house was filled with musicians visiting, appa practicing, or classes, because my mom used to take classes as well. Not now, but she used to take batches and batches of classes, varnams, kritis, veena classes. Sometimes I used to take my books to the concerts, and I was studying as I listened to the concert. Sometimes that used to happen too. I was taken to musicians' homes. I used to listen to them practicing. Sometimes I used to play the tanpura, sometimes I used to study. And we were living in West Mambalam, which is the heart of music. This if you turn this way, there is Ayodhya Mandapam. This way it's Murugashramam. It was just buzzing with music. And I studied in a school that was very encouraging of music too. So Padma Seshadri Balabhavan is very much centered around music. They used to give a very good balance between music and studies.
Did you do a lot of kind of school performances and stuff?
Oh yes, very much. Our morning prayer used to be almost 50 to 1 hour long, in which we used to sing so many beautiful songs, Pasurams, Kanda Shashti Kavacham, so many important Hindu hymns we used to sing.
Did this mean that you knew you wanted to take music as a full-time profession early on, or did you have plans to go into study?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. It was just a part of my life, and I enjoyed doing it, but I never thought I would take it up as my profession. I was very interested, and for a very long time in high school, I thought that I was going to accomplish something in stem cells. So stem cell research, I was exploring the ethicality of it and all that. There was this concert I gave when I was in my 10th grade. So my father attended that concert. That was the first time he was attending the concert, and I was so nervous. But that was the first full-fledged performance, and I went on stage, and I just closed my eyes tightly. I didn't see anyone in the audience. I just sang my heart out. I just gave my best. Appa was sitting in the last row, and then after the concert, he gave a long list of criticism about the concert, which I appreciate, because that's how I was able to grow as a performer. But then he told me at the end of it that I really wasn't expecting you to sing as well as you did. And when those words came out of his mouth, that's when I realized, such a great musician, he has no reason to, say those words of appreciation without a reason. And if it's coming out of his mouth, then it has to mean something. That's when I decided to take up economics as my major subject in my high school, because it would be easier for me to practice as well. And I'm so glad that revelation came to me just as I was transitioning between my 10th and 11th, because that was the time that I had to make the decision. as to which subject to pick. So I think it was just God given.
It was destiny.
It was destiny for sure.
You know, both your parents have taught a significant number of students, sir and ma'am, over many years, and have a large music school now. You know, being exposed to all of that from an early age, I'm assuming you would have not only picked up some of the skills to teach effectively, but that interest must have rubbed off onto you. So is it your aspiration to teach? Do you teach now? And is that one of your major plans going forward?
Definitely, yes. I think I have been teaching since I was 14. Yeah. I used to, when my father used to take a break from teaching, or when my mom used to, I used to fill in for them.
Nice.
Whether I had the qualification or not, I was a self-proclaimed teacher at 10. When I was 10, I used to take a break. This is a common joke, like an inside joke between my upper students, older students, that is, not now. I used to fill in for them, and I used to say, "அந்த சாவ அப்படி பாடக்கூடாது, அந்த சா இன்னும் ஸ்ருதி சேரணும், அந்த மாவை அப்படி அசைக்க கூடாது." And I used to go and just pat on their head, just like my father used to. This is so wrong, thinking about it now, but Appa's older students, Shri Ramanna, Shri Ram Parsati, and Shri Vidyaka, Shri Vidya Venkatachalam, they used to tell me that I used to do this, and I was like, "I'm so sorry, Akka. I'm so sorry, Anna. I shouldn't have done that."
You can get away with it under the ruse of the innocence of childhood.
Plus Guru's daughter.
There you go. Yeah, both.
So no, but definitely that interest blossomed in me very early. I was always very passionate about teaching, whether I was passionate about performing or not. I know for sure that I was very passionate about teaching, and I think I was pretty good at it. Yes, I run a school called Sriranjani Tapasya. I don't know if I want to grow my school as exponentially in terms of numbers as my father did. As of now, I have about 20 to 30 students. And I think I'm focusing more on the quality of students. I only teach students who have a very good, who have a very good flair for the art, and who take up music very, very seriously, seriously, who can practice for about 2 to 3 hours a day. And I was very fortunate in that not only my students, but the parents of the students are also very involved in their musical journey. So I'm very fortunate.
I noticed you kind of mentioned that you only take on students, that are of a certain kind of caliber, that pick it up fast enough. Do you think that this is kind of like a common asked question, that anyone can sing, or you have to have like a natural amount of like talent, or with enough training? Do you think that anyone can kind of get to a really good level?
No, definitely anyone can sing with the right guidance and hard work and patience. But the thing is, since I'm a performer as well, I have a very serious performing career as well. I do not have the time or the vocal energy to be as patient when you're a complete novice. That's the only downside to having both as you're parallelly going on. That's why I'm not able to concentrate on basic students right now. But in the future, maybe.
What advice would you give to the younger students who aspire to take music seriously now?
I'm very young in my musical journey, so I would like to share some of my experiences. Find yourself a guru who you really believe in, whose music inspires you. Otherwise, you will not be hooked. So it is very important to find that guru who you're awed by, who you're inspired by, so that you can imbibe all their manodharmam and all their their creativity, and you can be inspired constantly. And inspiration is a very, very important thing to keep you motivated in music. And music comes from inspiration and nothing else. So it's very important. And the other thing is, make sure that you have a very strong foundation, a huge repertoire of kritis, so that your manodharmam can develop from a proper set patandram. That's very important. Otherwise, your manodharmam will be undesirably wild. So if you have a good base of proper krutis, patandaram, a good disciplined patandaram, then your manodharmam will also be, there'll be creativity, but within a discipline. So that's very important. And at some point, there will come a time where you decide whether you want to be a performer or somebody who imparts music in terms of teaching or musicology. So make that call, and if you decide to perform, it's a completely different ball game altogether. You'll have to observe the craft of delivering execution. So that's something you need to really observe. So that's exactly what it came to me naturally, because as I said, I had that experience of sitting behind my father, my guru, and accompanying him in several concerts. So I was able to see him actually execute the concert to perfection. What were the elements that went into executing a concert? The timing, as I said, the delivery, the interaction with accompanists, the interaction with the audience. Performing is a completely different ball game, and you have to really work for that in a different way. So that's a call you have to make.
So I've had this said to me before, oh, if you sing Carnatic music, you can sing anything. You can sing anything, once you train in Carnatic music. So what's your opinion on this statement?
I wouldn't particularly vouch for that statement. I've heard it a lot, though. I think what they mean is that since Carnatic music is such an exacting discipline, you spend years and years learning set kritis in a very, very specific way through notations. It sort of becomes second nature to you. You sort of imbibe that naturally. So if you listen to a tune, it immediately translates in your head as swaras, and you're able to reproduce it immediately. So I think that's what they mean. For example, when I used to be crazy about the Beatles when I was in high school. See, I heard it somewhere. I don't remember, off of a radio or something. I couldn't remember the words, but I could remember it as swarams. Pa ga ga pa da re re ga ma sa da pa da pa ma ga. That's how I used to hum it.
Nice.
And then later on YouTube, I found out that it was Hey Jude. I was crazy about the Beatles, but I couldn't understand their words because I couldn't understand their accent or whatever.
Yeah.
But I used to remember them as swarams.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they mean. But there is more to a genre than just imbibing a tune.
Definitely.
There are more nuances. There are, the way the swaras interact with each other are completely different in different genres. So, you'll really have to observe it, and you'll have to discipline it, separately. You can't just throw that statement loosely.
No, I agree with you as well. That's why I raised it. I mean, I've had that thrown around, and someone said, "Oh, if you can sing Carnatic, you'll be able to sing anything." So I said, "No, if I sing Balagopalam or Sharavanabhava for you now, it'll sound okay. But if I sing like a film song, I'm going to sound like a donkey braying. So, for certain voices, certain things suit as well." So
right. Definitely, your hardcore Carnatic will come out in the other genres.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
It's not for me, but definitely.
Find myself singing like Western songs, and you had like a couple gamakams and like brikas in there.
Absolutely. That's a part of you, and it'll definitely come out unless you have proper guidance in that genre, like you actually acquire it through a discipline. I don't think you'll be able to master it in its truest sense. I don't think so.
Definitely. Just the last sort of couple of questions in this section, Akka. So you mentioned you practice quite a lot, so about 3 to 4 hours on most days. What's your routine like? So do you warm up with akarams and move into Varnam practice? So how does it work for you in general?
It is very random, but one thing is constant is that I start my morning with tuning the Tanpura. It's very, very important to me. Because I don't know, I have some connection with the Tanpura, and when I sing with the Tanpura, the way I sing, the content is completely different when I sing with the Tanpura and with the electronic Shruti. So the first thing I get up in the morning and I do is tune the Tanpura to whichever Shruti I'm planning to practice that morning, because it all depends upon the state of your voice. Your voice is very delicate. So you can't practice I sing in A predominantly, but I can't expect myself to get up every morning and sing in A, because sometimes my voice will be very heavy because of lack of sleep or oversleeping or because of sedation or something like that. So when your voice is heavy, it's better to practice in a lower pitch in which it is comfortable in. Whichever pitch your voice is comfortable in, you can practice in that, is what my doctor told me. So I generally practice between G to A to A sharp also sometimes. So when I over practice and overstrain my voice, my shruti goes up. So that's an indication that I've overstrained.
Yeah.
Whenever I feel a strain in my voice, I completely go into a maunam. Maunam is complete abstinence from talking.
Yeah.
So in terms of what I practice, it completely varies depending on the mood. Sometimes I remember there was one period when I took up all the Melakarta ragas and I used to practice every raga, each and every raga every morning. And there were times when my father instructed me to take up varnams and practice them very, very slowly with the metronome, so that the gamakams are, sort of ironed out.
Yeah.
So I used to do that. And these days I'm just practicing kritis and akarams stuff. Just varies.
Nice.
Well, the mantra is to not overstrain your voice, whatever you do.
Definitely. I think a lot of young musicians get into that rut of saying the more you practice correlates with the better you sing. But sometimes when you just step away and take a break and you give your voice that rest, and then you come back and say, wow, I can sing without having to strain and strain. So,
you can always listen when you're not practicing, right?
Exactly.
And I would say listening is a much better form of practice than actually practicing. There is a saying in Tamil, Selvathul Selvam Savichelvam Achelvam Selvathul Yellam Thalai, which is from Tirukkural. It means that, in short, it means that listening is the biggest wealth. Yeah. So the amount of stuff that you can actually imbibe from listening is way better than you practicing yourself. But of course, you have to, your voice is an instrument. You have to tune it and you have to practice every day. So that's there.
So, Akka, who has influenced your singing style the most?
My guru, my father, Navavarna Santhanagopalan sir.
Nice. What is your favorite venue to perform at?
Nardakana Sabha main hall.
Cool.
Lovely.
If you could go back in time and attend a concert of an artist you've never seen, who would it be?
Ramnath Krishan.
Great choice. Great choice. What is your most memorable foreign tour?
2012. That was my first US trip.
Nice.
What is the best piece of advice your father has given you regarding music?
When you go on stage, it's completely yours. Own it and rock it.
Nice.
Your favorite Sabha canteen during the season?
Parthasarathi Swami Sabha, of course.
Of course. Your favorite vegan restaurant that you've been to?
There is one in Bangalore, Carrots. It's an awesome restaurant. You should try it.
I've been there. It's so good.
Yeah?
So good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What is your favorite Navavarna kriti?
Ghanta.
Oh,
it's one of a kind.
Yeah.
Your favorite Navagraha kriti?
Angarakamashriyam. Suruti.
Do you use Instagram or Facebook more?
Insta, for sure.
Thought so.
Do you prefer teaching or performing?
Both.
Yeah.
Paratha or parota?
Neither.
What's the best movie you've seen recently?
Vikram Veda.
Your favorite IPL team?
Chennai Super Kings. Are you kidding me?
Well, you
what
never
else
know.
would it be?
Some people, have allegiances to all sorts.
Oh no.
Most embarrassing moment on stage?
Okay, so when they dropped the curtain on me when I was singing the Tiruppugal at Mylapore Fine Arts.
When was this?
Well, the time was up. It became a huge ruckus out there because I said, can I sing one more song? And they said no. And I was like, okay, I'll finish with the Tirupugar. And I sang the Tirupugar and they dropped the curtain on me. The funny part was that there was no concert in that Sabha after like an hour from my performance. So even if I had gone over like 5 minutes or something, it wouldn't have mattered. So that's when I knew that I had the support of the music lovers, is that when they all came after the concert and they were like questioning the Sabha secretary, they were like, why did you do that? It's so disrespectful. We wanted to listen to more songs of her. How could you do that? So
Oh gosh. Oh,
it was
so
embarrassing and sort of, self-assuring at the same time.
yeah, has a warming outcome or conclusion.
Sorry?
It has sort of a happy conclusion to it.
Definitely.
One book you could read over and over again.
P.G. Wodehouse's What Hope.
Nice. What's your favorite Harry Potter movie?
Oh, I don't like the movies, but if I had to name one, it's Goblet of Fire. I prefer the books.
One thing that an audience member might do that might annoy you.
Probably talk really loud or discuss the raga or something really loudly. It's okay if they're whispering, but they're shouting. Then yeah. Or the cell phone. Oh my God, when the cell phone
I was gonna
rings.
say. Yeah, that's
yeah.
If you could have any animal as a pet, what would it be?
A dog, definitely. Several dogs.
A little puppy sanctuary.
Oh yes. There's off topic. There's a funny video of my brother, and we used to do this. We had a pet cat, like a stray cat that we, sort of domesticated. So there's a video of my brother teaching it to sing Sarigama Padanisa. You wouldn't believe it's quite spot on.
Wow.
With the Shruti,
Nice.
yeah. So.
Is this on YouTube?
But I'm a dog person, so yeah. No, it's on my Insta.
Ah, okay, nice.
Do you prefer early morning practice or late night?
Early morning.
Relaxing on a beach or hiking up a mountain?
A beach, definitely. I'm more of a water body.
Your biggest fear?
My biggest fear. This is kind of sad, but losing my voice.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I think every musician will relate to that to some degree.
Yeah.
So that's 21 questions. So great job. You didn't pass up anything except one question, the Parata or Parota. But we'll
I said neither. I didn't.
Yeah,
it was a definitive answer. I said I don't like either, actually.
Moving on to the next section, we're going to sort of bring up a few pictures from your past, and we'd like you to just tell us a little bit about them and tell the audience, give the audience a bit of background about what's going on in the pictures. So first up, we've got this picture with a very young-looking Sriranjani with a veena, almost maybe twice the size of her. So give us a bit of background on this picture.
You're right. I could barely hold the veena, but I used to admire my mom playing the veena. So I was so inspired by it that I used to make her, sort of place the veena in the right position because I couldn't lift the veena. So I used to make her place the veena and I used to play it. My father used to be ecstatic, and he had purchased a video camera at that time. That was his first visit to the US. So he had purchased a video camera and he used to record me play the veena all the time.
Do you still play the veena regularly, or?
Off and on, not much, but off and on, yes.
And so next up, we have a picture with the one and only Balamurali Krishna sir, the legend, and you're receiving what looks like an award. So tell the audience a little bit about this picture.
So that was when I was receiving the Carnatic Idol Runner-Up Award. This was in 2010. I think that was a life-changing experience for me because I knew how much I didn't know when I was on stage, so it was a real sort of a revelation that how much I didn't know. So when Balamurali sir presented the award, he said, "Ningda nammaloda future." He said that. So I was like, oh my God, such a legend. I was so nervous, but I was so delighted to receive the award from him. And I dearly miss him and his music.
It must have been very inspiring to receive the award from him and hear those words. We have this picture. So you don't feature in this picture, but I hear that you can see we've got another musical legend in the left side of this picture, T.N. Seshagopalan sir. So tell us a little bit about this one.
Definitely. This is my Aishoma photo. Aishomam is my first birthday celebration. We usually do it in a grand manner in India. So we had a homam and all of that going on, and Seshagopalan sir was there, and he told to my father, in the Koranda, I'll translate it in a bit. In the Koranda, on Appan Kupradu, Sapan Kuprum. That's what he said. He blessed me that way, and that means that your child will call you Sapa, that is Sapa, the Swarams, instead of Appa. So that was a blessing he gave me on the first birthday, and so it's a very memorable photo.
Last up, we couldn't go without featuring a picture with your guru and father, Navavarna Santhanagopalan sir. And there's what looks like a picture of the pair of you sitting on a swing on sort of in the background. So where was this taken?
This really brings back fond memories because this was our first vacation, official vacation. We went to Pondicherry and we sort of stayed in a resort, and that was the first time I heard my father sing Inta Saukya Manine. And as a child, I remember almost close to tearing up, and I didn't even know that I had so many emotions in me as a child. Like, how could you have so many emotions that you could tear up to a song? But I still distinctly remember him singing Inta Saukya Manine in that swing, and I was like, oh my God, what is this beautiful song? And then right after that vacation, he left to the US for a 3-month tour, and I dearly missed him. And at that time, right before he left, he had released this cassette called Tyagaraja Hridayam, which contained him singing, the cassette contained his Inta Saukya Manine. And I used to repeatedly listen to that song, and I used to tear up. I used to miss him so much, and I connected to him through the song.
That's so sweet. Aww.
Beautiful memories.
So I thought I would help out students of music who are having trouble with Khandanadai, or who are beginners who are looking to get into Khandanadai. I have been there. I have struggled with getting the hang of Khandanadai. So the way I practiced is, it's important that we start slow, and it's important that we let the Khandanadai, the subdivision 5, sink into us. So, and the other important thing is, whatever you're singing or reciting, be it a jati or swaram or a kriti or a varnam, you should keep this pace very steady with what you're singing or reciting, and at the same time your talam has to be steady as well. It helps if you don't move your left hand on which the beat falls, because sometimes when you move the hand on which the beat falls like this, when you swing it like this, it actually disturbs the steadiness of your talam. You keep saying this repeatedly for 10 to 20 avartanams until it has sunk in. And then what you do is, you go either above 5 or below 5. You could go the 6, 7, 8, 9 route, or 4, 3, 2, 1, whichever you're comfortable with. You can do tadinginatum, tadinginatum, tatom tadinginatum, tatom tadinginatum, etc. Or you can do takadimi, takita, takata. So let me start with takadimi, 4. You try saying that, you try saying 4s in the beat. Start with 5. Taka takita taka takita taka takita taka takit takadimi 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 ta. So if you're having trouble with this, what you can do is, you can align the first 2 or 3 jatis. That is takadimi ta, kadimi taka. Okay, taka dimmi taka dimmi taka taka dimmi taka dimmi taka taka dimmi taka dimmi taka taka dimmi taka dimmi taka. Okay, once you get the hang of this, make sure the first rule that I said, what you're reciting and the talam has to be steady. Taka dimmi 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 taka dim takita 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 ta. You can do 6 also. Ta ding girnatum 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 ta. Ta ding girnatum 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 ta ding girnatum, etc. Ta tom ta ding girnatum 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 ta. So once you get the hang of this, you can try experimenting exclusively with karvais. That is, you can take a base jati. Let's take 5 so that it's easier to check if we're on the right track. And then you can try reciting 5 in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 karvais, etc. Let me show you. Taka takita 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 taka ta ki ta ta ka ta ki ta ta ka ta ki ta. So once this is done, you can try moving to varnams. You can try singing them in Kannada. Sarasudani ne Kori chala marulu ko nagadi ragiri velayu Shri Venkatesha. So this will be a little more trickier because you have to concentrate on the tune and the sahityam, etc., the words, etc. So if you're at the beginning stage, you can just write it down and group them in terms of 5, and you can just mark where the beats fall. As I said, the talam and the whatever you're singing or whatever you're reciting has to be at a very steady pace parallelly. And after that, you can just try fun experiments. Like, for example, you can take any atatala varnam, and what you can do is you keep the pace of the tune steady. You convert the khandajati atatalam into Chatushra Jati Attatalam. All the lagus will be in Khandanade and the dritams will be in Chatusharanade. For example, we'll take Viriboni Varnam. Viribo ni ne kori marulu ko ona dira sarasu do Dakshina dwara arakasa mi Shri Raja Gopala Deva. And then you can start singing swarams. Pada da pa pa ma pada pa ma pada pa ma pada pa ma ni da pa ma ga ri ga ma pada ni da pa ma pa da ni sa pa da ni sa ri pa da ni sa ri ga ma ga ri sa ni ga ni ri sa da ni da sa ni ga ri ga sa ri ni sa pa da ma ri ga ma pa da ni sa ri ga ri sa ni da pa ga ri. So this is how you slowly progress towards mastery over Khandanade. Hope this helps. Since I had mentioned that my favorite Navavarna Kriti is the Ghanta, Kamalamba, so I would like to present that.
Fantastic.
शब्दादि पञ्च तन्मात्र विशिखात्यन्तराग पाश द्वेषाङ्कुश धर करे रहस्य योगिनि Pare Shri Kamala Ambike Avashime Karadhrite Shukasari
Okay, so Akka, just to round up, we've had an amazing time with you today, and we'd just like you to say a few words to those viewers who are tuned in today on the current situation and the lockdown.
I think it's very important that in the face of this pandemic, we stay in and we practice social distancing so that we can go back to our normal lives again. I think if this time is used wisely, we can do a lot of things, even rediscover ourselves. So stay in, stay safe. Thank you.